Okay, right now I'm going to cover how to carve a round spindle leg. So just like before, all we have to do is first thing to bring all corners down to a chamfer, right up to the line. And in this case, we're going to use a block plane, okay? So the block plane will come, this block plane comes with the spindle stool kit. Okay, so there's two ways of using this. This is the front of the plane, okay, and basically the blade is facing that direction, right? So you can either cut by pushing forward or you can pull back. But I'm going to be using it in a forward motion because I'm using hold fast as my stop block. Okay, so first thing, start with the corner. As always, from the back all the way to the front. You want to keep the chisel, not the chisel, you want to keep the plane flat from the back, push to the front. So at the start, you're only going to be taking out a little bit of material at a time because the surface area is really small. But as you continue carving, you start shaving more and more material, all right? And your shavings will get bigger as well because of that. So if your plane is not cutting enough material, there's one thing that you can do is to push the blade forward a little bit. So before you do that, make sure you hit the wedge slightly forward and then hit the blade a little bit. Just softly, try not to hit too hard. All right, now it's starting to cut a little bit more. I have to bring it back down a little bit more. Alright guys, as you can see, I managed to get one corner all the way down to the line. So one thing that you need to pay attention to is make sure every time you are carving, you go from the front all the way to the back for every single stroke, okay? Otherwise you'll end up, so if you only carve the middle or the back, you'll end up with the concave in the middle. To check the straightness of the leg, what you can do is use a ruler and put it up on the leg, and if you see a gap between the ruler and the workpiece, that's the part that you overshave, okay? And then you can just go back and take care of the rest. I want to cover another technique of planing before we move on. So sometimes if you plane straight like this, it might not always work based on the grain, based on the type of lumber that you have. So in that case, what you can do is angle the plane slightly. So instead of holding it straight like that, just angle the plane, but still make sure you keep the bottom flat to the surface. So basically you're doing a slicing cut with the plane, and then that way you'll get a much finer shavings and also a much finer surface, finishing surface. Once you've shaved all three corners, and when you're working on the last corner, you might want to run into a problem of not being able to keep it stable. So in that case, I recommend you, well, first thing you got to have this, the push block, stop block with the hold fast. And you just hold it down with your hand like this. So you're pushing forward and you're holding it down with your left hand. Okay, just like that, and you can even like move it around according to your needs. Alright guys, we are down to the last part about carving the legs, the spindle legs. So the last thing that we need to do is bring the bottom of the leg down to a taper. And this taper is going to be 35. I prefer to keep it at 35 so it's slightly bigger still. And at the top it's going to be 45. So it's going to be 45 to a taper that's 45 to 35. Okay, so as we've done before, all we need to do is just bring the bottom 5 to 10 millimeter down to the line first, and then we're going to blend it into the rest. Okay, so now I'm going to start shaving the bottom of the leg down to 35. It's the same technique. So now you can actually start removing the lines and everything. If you want to, you can actually mark off how much you want to taper at the start. But eventually the taper will have to go from, once again, from the top, from the bottom to almost to the top. But for now, just give yourself a guideline, something like that. Alright guys, I just finished carving the taper on this leg. So as you can see, I carve it to about halfway. So there's a bit of a weird transition. If you check here, it looks really straight here, but then right around, I don't know, about past halfway, it starts to taper suddenly. So if you don't want your legs to look like this, what you can do is to blend the middle. So basically a little bit more shaving. And if you put it on the table, oh my god, lots of shaving. So if you put it on the table and it rocks, that also tells you that the taper is not straight. So all you have to do is just get rid of the bump in the middle. Once again, you're not using too much force. You're just trying to blend the two surfaces together. The two surfaces, as in the surface at the top and surface at the bottom. Right? You're only trying to get rid of the middle. So that will make the taper look much finer and nicer. A little bit better. I'm going to shave a little bit more. All right, that's it. So that's how you carve the tenon and the taper leg for our spindle short stool. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and if you do, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this.